Okay, so hey y'all, welcome to VlogmasDay9.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New.
Today's video is going to be part 2 of my favorite movies. No, they're not Christmas related, they just my favorite movies, period. So if you are new, make sure you hit that bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. And if you are returning, make sure you say hey in the comments, and we're gonna go right ahead and get into this video. Okay, so the first movie that I have on my list is The Help. The Help is an old movie about racism and how African Americans were treated back then. Of course, it was basically white people had black maids and they worked for, I think it was 92 cents an hour, and they got paid every month, and it equaled up to $162 an hour. I mean, every month, something like that. She said in the movie. It was basically about maids writing a book with a woman named Miss Skeeter, because they were trying to write the book of the maid's perspective of how they were treated and everything else. I'm not gonna tell the movie because y'all just gotta watch it. It's a 2-hour movie. It is very good. Like, when I first seen it, I thought it was very good. The next movie I have is Green Mile. This movie was about it was a man that basically he was able to heal people before they died, like bring them back to life, and he would take all the energy and he would get sick so they can be able to stay alive. But it was 2 girls that was killed by somebody, and he ended up going to jail for it because he was trying to save them, but it was too late. So he ended up going to jail for that, and he was in jail, and most of the people that he was in jail with, they all were getting electrocuted to die, basically. That movie is also old. I believe Green Mile is on Tubi. The Help is on Tubi too. But yeah, I'm not gonna tell y'all the end because the end is very sad and I cried, but that movie is very good. Like, it's good to me. The next movie I have is Bring It On, All or Nothing. This was basically about a white girl cheerleader. She ended up having to move to a black neighborhood, and she was on a cheer team at her old school, and she didn't want to cheer again because she was cheer captain at her old school, but then she ended up going to another school, but she couldn't stop cheering because it was something that she liked to do, and she ended up cheering for them. And yeah, I'm not gonna tell y'all the whole movie because y'all gotta watch it, like I said. But that movie is also on Tubi. It's starring Solange, Beyonce's sister. I think that's her name. And I don't know the other girl name, but yeah. The next movie I have is Rush Hour. If y'all never seen Rush Hour, then I don't know. This movie is starring, I think his name, what's his name? I know Chris Tucker, and I believe his name is Jackie Chan, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, his name is Jackie Chan. This was basically about a kidnapping. A little Chinese girl got kidnapped, and Carter which was played by Chris Tucker, and Lee, which was played by Jackie Chan. They both, Lee was in China and Carter was in America. So Lee ended up coming to America, and they ended up finding the girl together. So they ended up becoming partners because they both were police officers slash detectives, but just in different. So they ended up coming together and becoming partners. And yeah, the next movie I have is heyyy 2. This is starring DC Young Fly and Lil Yachty. Basically this is a movie about weed. Basically they was broke, and then they started selling weed to basically get money, and weed ended up getting stolen. And yeah, I believe heyyy 2 is on Netflix, but if it's not on Netflix no more, it is on Tubi. So yeah, the next movie I have is Toy Story. Toy Story is basically like a kid movie. It's about toys that can talk. Basically Toy Story 1 is about how Woody the cowboy was the main toy that Andy played with, and Buzz ended up coming along because I think he got Buzz for his birthday. Then Woody got jealous, but in the end they all ended up becoming back cool. Toy Story is a good movie that you can watch with like toddlers, but I still watch it by myself. But yeah, the next movie I have is Abducted, the Carlina White story. This movie is basically about a girl that was stolen at birth. She basically her mom had her at the hospital, and she went home and everything, and she ended up getting sick. The baby ended up getting sick, and the mom took her back to the hospital, and she was waiting. She stayed there with her, and it was a nurse. Well, she wasn't really a nurse, but she pretended to be a nurse, and she basically convinced the mom to go home and leave the baby, and she was going to watch the baby. So she ended up taking her, and I believe after 23 years, Carlina figured out her own abduction because she was trying to get her birth certificate, because she ended up pregnant at 16. So once she found out like she was abducted at a hospital, she got connected with somebody to connect her to her real parents. She ended up going with her real parents, and I believe it was said that she still got a relationship with both the parents, but the lady did ended up turning herself in for doing that. I don't know how many years she got, I forgot, but I know it was a lot. Next movie I have is The Incredibles. The first one is basically about two superheroes, Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible. They ended up getting married, being together. Then the superheroes had to go underground because they were made illegal. So they were basically doing stuff behind the world's backs, like they were saving the world without anybody knowing that it was them, basically. Then Mr. Incredible had a regular job, and he had to go, he ended up getting fired because he tried to save somebody, but his boss wouldn't let him, so he ended up punching him through the wall, and he ended up in the hospital, and he ended up getting fired. So then he ended up going working for an undercover like superhero thing, and he lied to his wife, telling him that he was going on a vacation or something with work, but he ended up lying to her. So she found out about it. She thought he was cheating, but he wasn't. But yeah, she ended up going with him. The kids snuck on a jet with her, and they ended up going, and they ended up saving some robot, well, stopping some robot at the end to, what was it? I think they stopped him from tearing up the city, basically. So that was that. The next movie is Stolen by My Mother, the Kamaya Mobley story. This movie is basically based the same thing as the Carlina White story. She was snatched from a hospital. Kamaya was snatched from a hospital, but this time, well, they both lost their babies, and the lady pretended to be a nurse also. She basically had a miscarriage, and she was tired of her husband or boyfriend or whatever you want to call it beating on her, so she drove to a hospital that was about an hour away, and she pretended to be a nurse. She told the lady she was going to take the baby down to the nursery, and she ended up taking her out the hospital and putting her in a car and raised her on her own. Kamaya tried to get a job, but she couldn't because her mama didn't know. Her mama didn't have a social security card. I think this was when she was 16. So her mama ended up telling her, well, the lady ended up telling her that she kidnapped her. She stole her. And Kamaya ended up calling her real mother. And her mother figured out like it was her because she kept calling and calling and calling. And they finally sent the police over there. The lady ended up going to jail for I think 12 years. And yeah, I don't think her mom got along. I don't think Kamaya got along with her mom, but I know she did get along with her dad. So, her real parents. I don't think she got along with her real mom because she wanted to keep talking to the lady that raised her. The last movie I have is Ninja Turtles, the movie. This was basically about, they were living in a sewer. April O'Neil, she basically found them. She didn't know that she had saved them and they had got mutated, but they ended up telling her, and they basically just had to stop Shredder in the end. So that movie is a lot, but it's really, really good because I love Ninja Turtles. So yeah, that was the end of my video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you turn on post notifications if you are new, so you can notify every time I post a new video. If you are returning, say hey in the comments. I love y'all, and I will see y'all in the next video.